Hello, dear friend, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of May the 3rd through the 9th. We are having two interesting ingressions during this week. Mercury and Venus are both moving from Taurus to Gemini. For Mercury, that's great news because Mercury is at home in Gemini, and this is especially beneficial for communication, for planning, for learning new things, hopefully for traveling as well. And overall, it brings lots of focus to our mind and our ideas and some kind of new directions that we may take. On the other side, the ingression of Venus into Gemini can make things more interesting when it comes to relationships. We can be a little bit more curious, more open, more willing to communicate and socialize with other people. And when it comes to personal life situations, romantic stuff, Venus in Gemini brings more lightness and easiness, and we can let go easier of negative emotions. We can also use our mind as a great helper when it comes to making decisions in terms of relationships or love. So the mind is getting a boost of energy, and we can really use this during the next couple of weeks when both of the planets will be in Gemini. Now, let's move on to our Monday horoscope. And before that, I actually want to make one important announcement. I have prepared the brand new Karmic Astrology Masterclass for you. It's something that I haven't offered before, and it's full of so much interesting information about how to interpret the chart from a karmic perspective, how to evaluate your planets from a karmic perspective. And right now we have a significant discount. So make sure to check the link below and see if you would be interested in joining the course. Now, moving on with Monday and our weekly horoscope. We are actually starting with a pretty challenging aspect between the Sun and Saturn on Monday. This is an aspect which may bring some kind of restrictions, some kind of delays or challenges that we need to overcome. The solution when it comes to Saturn is always hard work, consistency, and doing the right thing. If we pay attention to those things, eventually we can succeed and we can achieve more things. But it's very important also to slow down a little bit, not to rush things too much, and also to respect the boundaries of our material world. And overall, this aspect is not beneficial for business activities or financial stuff. And even when it comes to doing something brand new, keep in mind that there might be a little pessimism or things might be a little slower. On the other side, again, on Monday, Mercury has a square with Jupiter, which can make us a little bit more unfocused when it comes to our main goals, our priorities, planning, and overall, we should really pay attention to the more significant things. Mercury squaring Jupiter can bring exaggerations or some unrealistic ideas, or sometimes overestimating what we can achieve over one day. So make sure to pay attention to this possibility. But there is also good news for Monday, and that's the fact that Mercury will move to Gemini. And for our weekly horoscope, actually, that's pretty important because Mercury is coming back home and it affects not only the whole week, but actually the following few weeks as well. And as we already said, Mercury in Gemini is fantastic for planning, for new ideas, for verbal expression, for communication, and all the other Mercury stuff. On top of that, the moon is in Aquarius, which can help us to socialize, to connect with people for some group activities. This is also quite beneficial position. Then on Tuesday, the moon will make a conjunction with Jupiter early in the morning, which can make us more optimistic, more positive, willing to focus on some kind of goals, and overall, we may succeed, especially if we focus on the more important things early in the morning. And later, after 10 a.m., the moon shifts to Pisces, which will change the atmosphere. It will definitely make us more sensitive, more emotional, and perhaps sometimes a little bit more unfocused or unconcentrated or dreamy. So keep it in mind. And if you have some creative tasks or projects, that would be a great time to focus on them. Then on Wednesday, we have a very interesting and I would say exciting aspect between Jupiter and Uranus. There is a creative aspect which can really help us to make changes and to find some new directions when it comes to our goals, the things that we want to achieve, some kind of social activities, and even things related to financial projects and money. A great time to reevaluate things and also to work on your mindset, on your beliefs. It's a wonderful time for learning, for making long-term plans, especially if there are things that you want to change about your long-term vision. Another aspect on Wednesday is between Mars and Saturn, which is a creative one as well. And this one can help us to be more consistent, to take some actions, but at the same time be logical and responsible. And overall, for business and for communication, this aspect is pretty supportive. Pay attention also that the moon is in Pisces on Wednesday, and this helps with imagination, with creativity, but it can make you a little bit unfocused, especially if you need to do something which requires physical effort and energy. That might be an issue, but the creative projects and activities which require your imagination, actually the day is pretty positive. Then on Thursday, we have a great aspect between Venus and Pluto. This is a major positive aspect, which can be great for financial stuff, investments, reorganizing your resources, even for business projects and work. This is an amazing aspect. On top of that, this aspect can bring some positive stuff when it comes to relationships and passion and deeper connection. Mercury is having a creative aspect with Neptune on the other side, and this one will help with creativity, with intuition, with imagination. In terms of communication, the aspect may bring some relaxation or more kindness or the ability to make compromises. So if you need to solve a situation or discuss something which could be a more kind of a painful topic, this aspect may help because people might be kind of like softer and ready to make compromises. The moon is in Pisces, which actually helps the kind and polite communication as well. And it's still a great time for imagination, creative projects, and also for spiritual practices, meditations, and anything that will help you to relax a little bit. Then on Friday, the energy is much different because the moon is moving to Aries. And that's always a pretty significant shift. You may feel more energized, more empowered, ready to make some decisions and take some action. It's a great time for business, for sports, for doing something more independently. And the moon is having a nice aspect with Mercury, which can help with planning, with communication, with also organizing things or learning, and overall with some social projects. This aspect can really help us to be more logical and more concrete. The last few days, when we had lots of Pisces moon energy, some Neptune aspects, those days are better for creativity, for inspiration, for um, exploring different things. But Friday is a day when you may rely more on your logical mind. And if you have tasks that require, for example, working with numbers, organizing things, or more precision, then Friday would definitely be more productive for you. And on Saturday, we have Venus squaring Jupiter. This is not a really difficult aspect because both of the planets are positive in their nature. But there is some kind of misalignment between their energies. And for example, we may experience that as a conflict between our personal life and our goals. So we may need to make choices. What's more important? What do we want to focus on? Another way is also to compare ourselves to some kind of universal or general social standards. And we may feel like our values are misaligned with the values of other people around us. So a conflict of values is definitely possible as well. And overall, we may feel like we want to expand something really fast, and that may create some kind of frustration. But even this aspect is not really bad or challenging. Usually, it brings some frustration that eventually may help us to take some action. Be more careful with expenses because chances are you might overspend or you may buy something which is really overpriced, for example. And right after that, during the same day, Venus will ingress Gemini. And this changes the emotional atmosphere for the next couple of weeks with more lightness and easiness in communication. People may enjoy their company more. People can kind of let go of negative emotions or frustration easier. And overall, Venus in Gemini really helps with a more logical and practical approach when it comes to emotional or personal stuff. The moon is in Aries, so we have the dynamic energy, we have the possibility to do something and really enjoy this. It's a great time for some sports or doing something that will engage also your physical body. And finally, on Sunday, the moon is still in Aries, but we'll have two aspects. So a square with Pluto, which may bring some additional intensity, some emotions, which can be a little bit more uncontrollable. So be careful with that and how you express yourself and how you communicate your feelings. But that's more like the earlier part of the day. During the second half of the day, we will feel more the positive aspect between the moon and Jupiter. And this one can help us to be more open minded, more positive, more optimistic, and overall to look at things from a higher perspective. So the second half of the day might be kind of like more peaceful in a way. So that was our weekly horoscope. Don't forget that on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram account, you can find the daily horoscopes in stories. So you can always go back and check what's the energy today, what's the energy tomorrow, and you can plan your day according to that. Also, don't forget to check the brand new course on Karmic Astrology. We currently have a discount, and this training will really help you to interpret your chart from a karmic perspective, to make an evaluation. We have some foundational techniques, we have a couple of advanced techniques. There are 3 in-depth, complete karmic chart analysis of famous people. And also, there is a checklist with, if I'm not wrong, 26 indications to explore. And according to them, you can evaluate the status of your chart and the status of each planet from a karmic perspective. So it's a very unique and extremely interesting course. Make sure to check it now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you next week.